All right, here we are again. Welcome back to this episode of Market Shares. I'm your host, Tony Blodgett, and I'm here with my very often co-host, Coach Dan Keller. Hey, you guys, we got a great conversation to talk about today because we're in a very interesting market, I would say. And I believe that a lot of how we feel about the market has to do with the thoughts that we tell ourselves, and more importantly, the words that we speak out loud. And so I'm just going to set a frame here really quick. I talk to a lot of loan officers, obviously, being in sales leadership, and, you walk in the door, hey, how's it going? Happy Monday. How are things? Always try to have a good attitude. And lately what I hear a lot is, oh man, it's so tough out there. I'm like, oh man, what's so tough? Well, the interest rates have gone up so much, and so many of my agents, they're not as busy, and I don't have any refinances that'll work, and there's a lot of negative talk going on. Have you noticed this, Dan?
No, because I don't put up with that stuff. I mean, yeah, with myself, no. On social media, yeah, it's what is that old saying? Misery loves company.
Yeah,
and we're connected with a lot of real estate agents and loan officers, and so. Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing it and I'm seeing it. I'm just refusing to let it go in and stay inside my mind. And then my words, you're completely right. Your words, your thoughts become words. Your words become actions. Be careful what you're thinking, or you allow yourself to think.
Well, and I want to challenge this because I think it's easy for us as managers, as coaches, to say what you just said. Manage your words. Everything's great. Be positive. And, I've been listening to a lot of interviews lately. Ed Milet has some really cool stuff that I've been really enjoying lately. And this idea of, it's not just about positive thinking. It's about neutral thinking. Yep. It's, what's his name?
Trevor Moawad.
Trevor Moawad. I just listened to, a couple of his interviews, and just this idea that it is what it is. It's not what you think it is, but it is what it is. So let's just talk about what it is. So this morning I was chatting with a loan officer, and I said, okay, so rates are up. That's not the most awesome thing ever. But let me ask you this. Is there still 5 buyers for every home that comes on the market? And the answer is yes. Yes, there is. And so if the thought is that all of a sudden a bunch of my clients no longer qualify because they've been priced out by interest rates, let's just say that was 25%. Let's just say 25% of your pre-approved clients, because interest rates went up by 1.5 or 2 points, no longer qualify for a home that's available in their market. Okay, 25% is gone. So now, instead of 5 people for every home, maybe there's only 4 people for every home. Now, I would be concerned if there was 1 person for every 5 homes and rates went up by 2%. That sounds pretty scary to me. That's horrible. But we're talking about going from 5 to 4.
Yeah.
And did something change that I'm not aware of, where now that interest rates are 2% higher, people don't need to borrow money anymore to buy homes?
No, I mean, we're still doing loans. I mean, we
Right.
did a bunch last month.
They still need to borrow the money, right? Nothing's changed.
Yep.
They just have to borrow it at a higher dollar amount.
Yep.
And so I reached out to a friend of mine, and shout out to Anton Stetner, because he is like the local real estate agent here who just has all the stats all the time. And I'm going to have him on a podcast episode here shortly. But I reached out to him. I said, hey, I'm just curious. In Snohomish County, which is where our branch is right here, just what were the sales in the month of February? And he said, well, in February, there was 1,071 pending sales in the month of February in Snohomish County. And I'm like, okay, well, then what happened in March? Well, in March, it went to 1,531. So it went up by 25%. And then in the month of April, where we're at right now, there's 2,081 pending sales. These are homes under contract. So I said, what you're telling me is in the last 2 months, when all we've talked about is how much interest rates have gone up by 1.5 or 2 points, what's really happened is that there's twice as many opportunities in this county alone to finance a home.
Yeah.
Twice as many.
Yeah.
So what's the problem again? Like, there isn't a problem.
No.
Matter of fact, there's an opportunity. There's twice as many opportunities today as there was back in February to offer financing to someone. And yes, the rates are higher, and yes, some of your clients don't qualify, but it's a small percentage of them. And the ones that do qualify still need to borrow money to purchase a home. So then the question becomes, well, should they still purchase a home? Is now the right time to purchase a home?
Absolutely.
So I just did some quick and dirty math here. Just, as a mortgage guy, this is where my mind goes right away. And so I just want to paint for you an illustration. Now, home values went up 23% in this area in 2021. So let's just say that because interest rates have gone up as much as they have, things cool down a little bit. And let's say we get back to a much more normal level of appreciation of, say, 5%. And I think that's a very realistic number that we could look at. So let's use 5% appreciation, and let's say that you purchase your home today for $500,000 and you put 10% down. So you're putting $50,000 down on a $500,000 house. Now, at 5% appreciation, that is going to go up $25,000 the first year and another $26,250 the second year. So at the end of 2 years, you're going to have a value of that home of approximately $551,250. So you've made $51,250 in equity in 2 years at 5% appreciation. Now, if you put 10% down and the interest rate was, say, 5.5, this is not a rate quote. I'm just saying as an example, if you locked in a rate of 5.5 and you put 10% down, the principal and interest payment is $2,555, and you would also have mortgage insurance, which is going to vary depending on your credit score, so on and so forth. But let's estimate that it was another $63.75 for mortgage insurance using, I think, a 0.17 factor for that. So that puts your total payment at $2,618, not including taxes and insurance, just principal and interest and mortgage insurance, $2,618. Now, we all know that when the feds start raising interest rates and inflation is where it is, and the yield curve inverts as it is looking to do right now, it's already done it once or twice, all of these are signs of a very likely impending recession. Would you say that that's the general consensus?
Absolutely, yep.
So most people are anticipating a recession at some point in the next 2 years. Well, here's what happens during recessions. Well, at least 7 of the last 8 recessions, here's what's happened, is that home values stayed pretty steady and interest rates dropped back down. And so what you have to realize about what the Fed is doing right now with raising interest rates is they're just building up. If you think of it as like, they got a gun and they are going to fight inflation. Well, they're out of bullets right now. They have nothing to use to stimulate the economy. They have nothing to use if they have to stimulate the economy. So what they're doing is they're gonna fight inflation by raising interest rates. And every time they raise rates, they're putting a bullet back in their gun. But guess what? As soon as they've loaded that thing up, they're going to cock it back and they're going to shoot those bullets right back out, because by then we're going to need to stimulate the economy, because that's just the way that the cycle happens. And so I think it's realistic to anticipate that at some point in the next 15, 18, 24 months, we're going to see a reduction back down in interest rates. And so let's just assume for a minute that that happened, okay? And let's say that 2 years from now, you were able to refinance that home that you just purchased, and you were able to get an interest rate of, say, 3.75. So not the lows that we saw here, and I mean, not the 2.5s or 2.25 that you heard about that happened for a day, not even 3%, but 3.75. Let's just say right about where they were before we started seeing inflation really get out of control, and so on and so forth. So if you were able to refinance to 3.75 in 2 years from now, but now you have 20% equity because you put 10% down, the home went up $51,000. So now you could remove that mortgage insurance, drop your interest rate from, say, 5.5 to 3.75, and your payment is going to reduce from $2,618 down to $2,042. That's a $576 a month savings. And you go, okay, well, cool. Well, maybe I should just wait then until interest rates get to 3.75. Well, here's the problem. If you were to save that $576 a month for the next 24 months, you would only have $13,800. Where if you purchase a home today, you spend that same $576 extra. Think of it like putting money into a savings account, but by then you now have $51,250 in equity. You get to refinance and save that money, and then you can start putting that difference into some other type of an investment account and start building wealth while you can still own a home. You've made it your own. Your family's enjoying home ownership and all that comes with it. So even if your client is frustrated, but if they still qualify, you have to go through an example like this with them to help them understand, why does it still make sense if appreciation drops down to a single digit 5% interest and rates are up 2%, why should I buy? Well, I think this is very clear that there's a lot of reasons why you should still be purchasing a home in today's market. So I hope that was helpful, because this is not where most people's mind is right now. This is focusing on the opportunity in the marketplace, as opposed to everyone seems to be focusing on what they think is negative. And I believe that there is more positives than ever. I could probably go on for another 25 or 30 minutes telling you about all the other things I think are positive about this market, but I'm not going to do that because I want to keep this episode short and concise. But Dan, give me a couple of your thoughts on this.
So I'm playing color commentator right now. So I'm sitting next to a guy. How long have you been in the mortgage industry?
This is year 26.
Okay, year 26. I just posted something on Facebook the other night. I care to have conversations with people right now that were doing mortgages prior to 2000. That was when we had high inflation, high interest rates, a lot of unknowns. We had a changing in the color guard relative to the presidents during the 90s as well. So I'm sitting here talking with guys like you. Your perspective is completely different than the majority of the people that we oversee and we work with that got in the mortgage industry over the last 5 to 8 years, post the last housing and economic collapse. And so all those real estate agents and loan officers has ever seen is low rates,
right,
high appreciation, plenty of inventory, or maybe inventory issues which caused multiple offers. I see problems when 3 months ago, a year ago, my clients couldn't get an offer accepted because there was 22 offers on that house. That's a problem. We're kind of potentially exiting that situation. Another problem is home values dropping and interest rates rising. We still have home values and rent going up. So the perspective around a 5.5, 30-year fixed rate compared to a 2.5 or 3.5 or 4.5, it is what it is. We're all selling the same rates right now. It's the current reality for everyone. Do you see an opportunity in it? What is the opportunity? And capitalize on that.
Well, one last thing that I think is really important about this conversation is, let's just assume that 25 or 30% of first-time home buyers, because rates have gone up, they are priced out of the market, right? Home affordability is an issue for first-time home buyers. Mm-hmm. But here is the reality. If 25% of prospective first-time home buyers aren't purchasing a home, then what are they doing?
Mm-hmm. They're renting.
They're renting.
Mm-hmm.
So with so much continued demand then for rentals, what's going to happen to rents? They're going to go up.
Yeah.
So we're talking about interest rates going up, and then you second guessing whether you purchase a home. Well, the alternative is you rent, you build zero equity, and your payment still goes up just as much, if not more, than it would have with the money that you purchased for that mortgage. So there is not a scenario that I can imagine right now where it makes sense to not purchase a home. And the last thing that you could say is, well, Tony, I keep hearing that, on MSNBC, they said that, home values are going to drop, that there's going to be some bubble, so on and so forth. And all I would point you to is the demographics. The fact that there are so many people that are in that late 20s, mid 30s age range.
Yeah, millennials.
Yep. That are buying homes, that are creating families, that are having children, that need a place to live, mm-hmm. and there's not enough homes for them. Whether they're rentals or whether they're homes that you can purchase, there's not enough. So that fact alone is not going to change, because you cannot change the demographics.
Yeah.
They are what they are, and you can't build homes fast enough to fix this problem for many years to come. So That's just not likely going to happen. So anyways, you have to think about these. And then look, if you're a loan officer, you really have to find the opportunities in this market. And look, it's okay to have bad thoughts. You know what? We all have bad thoughts. We have them all the time. Your mind comes up with all sorts of crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. Right before I'm getting ready to do a podcast, I think about what happens if I have brain freeze and I forget what I'm talking about. Right?
You got Dan Keller for that. I'll pick you up.
Well, yeah, no. But my point is regardless of what we're stepping into, we always have doubt, we have thoughts, we have concerns. This is what our brain is meant to do. But what you don't do is you don't say it out loud. I don't before a podcast go, hey, Dan, I'm a little worried I might lose my spot. So make sure you catch me if I drop off, right? Yeah. You don't do that. You don't verbalize it. So you guys stop verbalizing your concerns about the market. You can have them in your mind and go listen to something positive. Listen to this podcast again and think of all the reasons why your clients should be still buying homes and why there's more opportunity out there than there was 60 days ago. But don't let your negative thoughts come out in words. It's bad enough that you're having them. That's okay. We all do. But it's up to you if you actually say them out loud, and even worse, commiserate with a coworker. Talk to someone else. Man, isn't it rough out there? Haven't you noticed that? Stop it. You're not helping anybody. Go find opportunities. And I promise you this, if you're a loan officer and you're out talking to real estate agents and you're telling them about the positive opportunities in the marketplace, they're going to be attracted to wanting to work with you because they want to be around positivity. And if you're a real estate agent and you're talking to customers, whether it be those that are looking to sell or buy, and you're positive about the opportunities, they're going to want to work with you. So it works the same all the way down the food chain, if you will. People want to work with people that are positive, and it's easy to find reasons to be negative, but if you just look a little bit deeper, there is a lot of reasons to be positive. And that's really my message for today. Dan, what was the book that you've been having everyone read this month?
The book that we're reading this month is The Four Agreements.
Four Agreements.
And that's a really good one. And, you know, the one that you just mentioned, It Takes What It Takes by Trevor Moawad. Again, it's the same thing. He gives an example in that book that is just spot on with what you're talking about. We all, you know, if you grew up in my era, you remember the Red Sox and the New York Mets. If you're a baseball fan, well, everyone knows Bill Buckner. He was the first baseman that let a routine ground ball go between his legs, and they end up losing a game that they were ahead in, and ultimately losing the World Series. What was funny about all of that, and the reason why he uses this analogy or the story, and this is a real life story, it was like earlier on in that season, Bill Buckner was having a great year. People don't realize that he was having an all-star year. He was hitting the cover off the ball. He was playing great defense. He was on, not a podcast, but an interview, a radio interview show. And they were talking about fears, and they're just talking about, you know, his season or whatever. And he goes, the worst thing ever, my biggest fear is that a routine ground ball is hit to me and it goes between my legs and we lose the game. He literally talked a fear into existence. So everything you're saying about your thoughts turn into words. Your words become actions. It's guys, it's how we are physiologically wired. So get rid of the stinking thinking. And hey, we're in this market together. Look for opportunities and make the most of it. I'm loving it. I was in a real estate office this morning, and I left, and I was on cloud 9 because the energy and the opportunities. And hey, real estate agents are selling houses right now. I don't know what loan officers think that it happens to be slow or people aren't getting opportunities. Real estate agents are busy. We need to be busy as well.
The numbers don't lie.
Those numbers,
in
that's
this
data.
In this county alone, it's twice as many pending sales as it was 2 months ago. It's simple, and I bet you it's the same all across the country because I know that it is. And so, with that, you guys, thanks for taking the time to watch this episode, and thanks for subscribing to Market Shares. Look, I'm having a lot of fun with this podcast. We're just kind of getting going, but we're looking for more people to interview, more ideas to share with you, more inspiration. So please like and subscribe and tune in and share this with your friends because we're just getting going, baby. Thanks, guys, for taking your time. Bye for now.